I, like a lot of people online, came across Aerial Knights Never Yield when it was announced it was coming to Nintendo Switch via the Nindies Direct. Aerial Knights Never Yield is a game by Detroit-based solo developer Neil Jones, who also goes by the game's title online. Neil had been working on breaking into the game development scene for well over a decade, but time after time was rejected. With his spirit diminished, he decided to take matters into his own hand and solo developed Aerial Knights, a passion project paying homage to the city of Detroit and in a way, a self-proclaimed validation that Neil's is more than cut out for this industry. But before we jump into this review, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to stay up to date whenever I put up another review. With all that said, let's jump into this review starting with its story. Aerial Knights Never Yield has you take on the role of Wally. He's a young, silent protagonist who has come back to the past to recover missing items from his past in hopes of saving the future. Presented as a 3D runner game, the story unfolds as Wally runs away from those trying to stop him across the Tokyo-Detroit hybrid set 10 years after modern times. Cutscene transitions between levels push along the story as we learn more about who Wally is running from and why he's running in the first place. These cutscenes, while stylish, did occasionally run into some stiff animation work that at times disrupted the flow of these pivotal moments. These cutscenes would have greatly benefited from some sort of spoken or written dialogue to further elaborate on the events happening. Although with the number of resources a solo developer could have, and the fact that this game was picked up by a publisher well after the work was done, I can't really blame the developer for stepping back on it a bit. Nevertheless, I enjoyed the mini adventure this 45 to 90 minute game took me on. In many ways, running through the metropolitan dystopia reminded me of the days my family and I would drive down to LA from Oxnard. I'd stare off to the many buildings around Figueroa Street and imagine someone running from building to building, performing these amazing parkour tricks. Aerial Knights perfectly encapsulates that memory. Aerial Knights Never Yield is a 3D runner like Bit Trip Runner and Cannibalt before it. While there's a lot more story and context presented in this title, at its heart Aerial Knights is a simple yet stylish game. Consisting of 13 levels in total, Aerial Knights has you run across the city landscape of this future depiction of Detroit as you run away from the authorities trying to stop you from saving the world. Each level is roughly 2 to 5 minutes long depending on your skill set. I was able to finish just about every level within 3 minutes with the exception of the last level that took me quite a few tries to get through. The concept of a runner game isn't new by any means, and although it doesn't really seem revolutionary with this title, there is this inherent style and charm that drew me to its gameplay. As you run across levels, you'll be presented with a handful of different obstacles that are color coded between purple, yellow, red, and light blue. As you get closer to these obstacles, you'll see a streak of color that teases which type of obstacle is coming up, and it's up to you to react accordingly and accurately. Your character continuously runs throughout the level, and using either the D-pad or the face buttons on your controller, you'll dodge in hopes of continuing your streak. Hidden throughout each level are collectible coins that further unlock extras like new outfits for Wally to wear as they race across Detroit. These also act as incentives for going back and replaying missions where you may have missed a coin or two. Across the 13 levels, the obstacles stay mostly the same outside of 2 specific moments that came to mind toward the middle and end of the game. I personally would have loved to see a bit more variety with this gameplay. You can only flesh out runner gameplay so much, but seeing these 2 instances of gameplay changes made me hopeful that a few more gameplay surprises were in store, but ultimately weren't. Aerial Knights Never Yield's bread and butter is its ability to evoke the sense of style and charm that immediately is apparent through the main menu of the game. It reminds me so much of my first reaction to Persona 5. The mix of beautifully looking typography and motion is on at all times. Seeing Wally make these amazing looking parkour moves throughout the city was astonishing, and I was quite mesmerized by all the chaotic action happening in the background. The variety of outfits were entertaining and even featuring a few fun game Easter eggs too. When it came to performance, I played primarily on PC but had some time with the Switch version as I figured it'd be good to know the performance on the strongest and weakest platform. When it came to PC performance, I was able to easily max out gameplay at 1080p 60 with max settings on my rig running a GTX 1080 Ti and an i7 4790K. Despite having a more than suitable rig though, I did run into the occasional stutter, usually in gameplay moments when there weren't any obstacles, more during cutscene transitions. While not detrimental to its gameplay, it did seem odd considering the rig setup I was playing on. On Nintendo Switch, of course a few drawbacks had to be made to get this up and running on a handheld. In handheld mode, you can expect a target performance of 720p at 30 FPS, while in dock mode it looks like a target of 900p at 30 FPS. In practice, the resolution looks to be locked, although the frame rate does occasionally dip during the cinematic moments and cutscenes. I personally preferred playing in handheld mode over dock for this particular title, as it seemed to help performance stay stable. Where Aerial Knights really shines is in its soundtrack. The fantastic mix of jazz and hip-hop perfectly encapsulates that street music vibe that originates from this part of the world. It evokes the same undertones and sense of style that I can only describe as very cowboy bebop-ish. Each level further progresses the soundtrack at times, making this feel like an interactive album, similar to how I felt about Sayonara Wild Hearts. Needless to say, a lot of heart and soul was put into this game's music, and nothing is lost in the delivery of it here. For those playing on Nintendo Switch, I was happy to see HD Rumble being used. While not completely jaw-dropping, the subtle differences between Wally's multiple actions were enough to keep me engaged and entertained while checking out the Switch demo. Aerial Knights is a great debut title for developer Neil Jones, and while it doesn't disrupt the genre or innovate upon it in unique ways, it's an acceptable new indie with a ton of heart and soul that was ever present throughout the 13 levels. Although the game is admittedly short and could use a bit more variety in its level design, I can't say I didn't enjoy myself. The slight hint of new level ideas in later levels gave me hope for further developments with this game that sadly never came, did ultimately give me a glimmer of what future games from this developer could bring. While I don't think this is a new must-have game, it does prove that Neil Jones was and is more than capable of being in this industry, and I hope it's not the last we see of him or his work. Thank you so much for watching my review. If you liked the video, then let me know with a thumbs up and a comment down below. I'm glad we're starting to see a lot more new voices in this industry, while I'll never shy away from giving an honest opinion of a game even if it is a debut game by one-man team. It really does put a smile on my face to see games like this and something like Raji get made. Anyway, I gotta get back to playing Biomutant and Knockout City. Those are the next reviews you'll see on here, but until then, I'll talk to you in the comments down below or over on my Discord server. Join with the link in the description.